But we'll start with the dollar, which hasn't done much since we last spoke, which is, I believe we were trading about here-ish when we last spoke, and price is only there. So we haven't really had much movement on the dollar. We had a bit of news yesterday for USD. Didn't really affect the market in terms of the current price. Hasn't really seen much momentum. We had a few wicks to the downside in the afternoon, but in terms of any big move, nothing just yet with the dollar. But it's the same old. I'm still looking to see if price can hold support here for a rally to the upside. I'm still very interested in DXY strength. Market has been falling for quite a while. We're very overextended to the downside. We've taken up major lows to the left. You can see the last weekly candle, big wick to the downside, having trouble heading lower. So I do think there are multiple reasons why we could see USD push up. Even if the bigger move is to the downside, which is what I'm still expecting it to be. But I do think dollar has room to the upside. So I am looking at price coming back to retest areas like this. Pretty much anywhere within this range here. 103.5, 104. I'll be more than happy to see dollar get there for some more shorts later on. But at the moment, this looks like a nice inverse head and shoulder. I did mention yesterday it would be good to see a strong kind of close on the 4-hour chart to illustrate momentum is coming back into the market again from a buyer's perspective. We had a very meaningful bearish candle on the way down. And we have found support, a few wicks to the downside. I haven't really seen much momentum since then, but it would be nice to get a strong bullish close in the opposite direction, really indicating to us that, okay, support is holding and buyers step back in, and perhaps now we could see that follow through. So maybe that could be happening over the next 2-3 candle closures here on the 4-hour chart. But the key takeaway is that support is still holding. So my bias of upside from this area is still intact. If, of course, that changes and price breaks through, I'll stand corrected, and probably at that point we'll see a push back to the low there for the dollar. And we probably end up having a pretty bearish week. Maybe NFP might have something to say with that on Friday, but yeah, we'll be breaking structure at that point, which from a bullish perspective is not what you want to see. But if we can keep this up, I do think we can get a bit of a rally for the dollar. And of course, that would mean some retracement for the other USD pairs. So for example, EURUSD, expecting a move back down again. Same situation here pretty much in terms of the head and shoulder pattern. So instead of inverse, it's head, because of course they're inversely correlated, so they do the opposite. We've got the left head and possible right shoulder. I was speaking yesterday about potentially price coming back for a deeper test of that zone, because we kind of just missed it, to be honest. So it would be nice to see price actually really rally into 1.144, which is kind of where I've got that level, and then see some short ideas coming in, rejection, wicks, entry candles. That would be great. And then perhaps we could see EURUSD retrace. Again, it's the same situation where I do think long-term Euro still has some juice to squeeze to the upside, but I do want to see a bit of a pullback. We've had a really big move, taking up major highs to the left. I do think Euro is in need of a bit of a relief. And these are the areas I'm looking for Euro to come to before we can start speaking about some swing opportunities to the upside again. I wouldn't really be looking to buy Euro anymore now anyway. Very correct behavior. We had a pretty meaningful move to the downside here. Now we're correctively pushing up. So that kind of gives me the impression that this was a impulsive move, and perhaps this is now a correction of that move for some downside anyway. So I'd be very skeptical about buying Euro, even on an intraday point of view, because I do feel like price is correcting itself to follow through. So I am looking at more downside there for Euro. And this is my idea. Once we've seen that move, hopefully we can pick up some longs later on. But first things first, you still need that retracement. Pound USD likewise, I wouldn't say it looks as clean as Euro, but it's the same situation in terms of prices rallied for quite a while now, very overextended, stretched, hitting some big levels here on the weekly chart, daily chart. So again, I do think pound is likely to retrace. There are a couple levels I'm eyeing up beneath us. One at 1.31, which is this area here, and also this area here at 1.3. So that's kind of where I'll be looking for price to push into, hopefully find some buys in that area. and then take pound USD, hopefully for another swing to the upside. At the moment, testing resistance, so I think sells are the best bet. Again, I'm not so keen about trying to call tops in the market, but it's not a bad place to short, considering where we're trading, the level we're respecting. Not bad for a stop loss above the high. Seeing some nice momentum, but nothing really meaningful. This is a pretty corrected move down. I'd like to see some stronger bearish pressure coming in, so bigger candles, bigger rejection. That would really indicate that, okay, maybe a top is forming. But to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if pound does rally up one more time before potentially pushing back down again. But my idea is that, okay, I'm expecting a bit of a top here to form, a correction lower, and then some buys later on for pound. And this is really what I'm interested in, which is probably still a few days away. So have to be patient with that, but that's really my idea there with pound. In the meantime, there might be some nice shorts to take for some counter trend opportunities. Dollar CAD, same situation here. Again, more focused with the shorts. I think that's where the bigger move still is with the dollar. With dollar CAD, we've formed these major highs, 1, 2. I'm looking for a third one, where the price comes back to respect this support level, or we push a little bit higher to respect this support level. Either one, I don't really mind. I feel like we've got a good chance of respecting either one of them. It just depends how price gets there, how we react, and that would determine which level I'm looking to get involved with. But again, you can see USD CAD, very corrected behavior, not really seeing much momentum anymore. Key sign that says, okay, market's tiring, perhaps we're getting ready for a pullback. So I'm looking for a bullish move here for dollar CAD. I did suggest yesterday that we might see one more rally to the downside. We are moving quite nicely in this descending channel. Perhaps we do get one more sell before price decides it wants to have that correction. But either which way, I'm not really interested with the buys anyway of dollar CAD. I'm just waiting for price to retrace so I can take some shorts, something like this. And again, that's probably a few days away from forming as well. But in the meantime, if you're interested, I expect buys to be the bigger move. So would be looking at some counter setups, counter trend setups there for dollar CAD. Aussie dollar, this one's still very corrective, ascending here. Pretty much the exact opposite of what dollar CAD is doing. So dollar CAD descending to the downside, Aussie dollar ascending to the upside. And I'm expecting Aussie dollar to have a bit of a relief as well, form a higher low, and then continue. And that again is the move which I'm interested in. I feel like Aussie dollar is bottoming out on the higher time frames. So I do think there's going to be a big relief to the upside. I'm looking at 0.66, 0.665 as potential targets for this one in the long term. So it's just about finding that higher low. The market is incredibly stretched with this rally here. So I do think we can at least have a dip for a couple of days or so. I'm looking at a couple areas for some longs, this being one and this being another. Again, depends how we get there, depends how we react. If I do actually get long from one of those levels, but those are the levels I'm interested in at the moment. We had a bit of a spike yesterday on the 4-hour chart. Market came back to highs, tried to pierce through the level, failed, came back down, closed bearish. Had a bit of a nice drop there, but we are still struggling at support here. So that does need to break for us to get that retracement, but I expect it to happen. USD looks like we are gaining that retracement. It looks like support is starting to break. I mentioned that if this support level can break, we probably will see that retracement there for USD. It looks like it is just about broken, but probably not the strongest break you'll ever see. There was a slight break, a slight retest, and we pushed away from it. It would be better if we had a slightly more forceful candle, but that's probably me being a bit picky. But anyway, I'm expecting USD to retrace as well, so I can pick up some longs too. We have a resistance level here, which I'm looking to see can be used as support. Again, same situation as Aussie dollar. Massive rally to the upside, market losing steam. You can see wicks, bearish engulfing candles coming into play. So I do think we can have a bit of a dip to the downside. Hopefully find some support in this area. And again, I'm expecting a lot more upside, 0.61, 615. I do think there is a lot more upside. Again, looking at this as potentially a bit of a bottom there for USD. So I do think we can start to trend for a while in the opposite direction. But yeah, I need price to be trading at those levels before I can find a buy. And then of course you got gold. So gold looking pretty bearish this morning here. Pretty strong close on the 4-hour chart as well. I do think this support level here is going to break, to be honest. So as I've been mentioning, I think buys look good from either this consolidation or the swing high back here. Again, staying a little bit cautious with gold because perhaps we could be seeing that retracement for gold finally. Perhaps we could be going through a bit of a bearish cycle. That could be the case. But I still like these areas for buys because we had a lot of momentum from these areas and we didn't come back to retest them. So I'm interested to see how price reacts with these levels. If I see good rejection, healthy rejection, I do think we can see some nice buying setups from either of those two levels. At the moment, things are looking pretty bearish. We are forming these lower highs as well. So I do think we are likely to break support there. But as soon as we get to 32.40 and 31.50, I'll see what we can get from the buyers there. But yeah, gold looks like we probably have another sell-off here. So watch out for that. I know we got some support below us, but I don't expect it to hold. And then silver, last time I checked, I was looking at a tad bearish as well. Yes, nice close as well this morning. Looks like we've broken out of this ascending channel here. Got a slight rally to the upside, didn't quite make resistance. It looks like that area of supply has basically held for silver. And we're seeing a bit of relief. So I'm still pretty bullish on silver, but now that we're getting that relief, because I've been saying all week that I'm bullish on silver, but that's not the place where I want to be looking to buy it, especially as a swing trader. You know, price is losing momentum. We've already had a big move. We're coming into areas of supply, but we had a massive move to the downside from. Not the best place to be buying the market. So if we can pull back perhaps into an area like this, 31, well, that would be definitely an area of interest for me for a buy. And again, potentially price might rally for a couple of days and then go against me again, but that would probably give me the opportunity to go to break even or take some profits off the table. And I would just feel a lot more confident buying silver from an area like this rather than up there. So if silver can sell off for a few more days, come back to 31-ish, 31.225, then I can start looking at some longs again. But it's a strong break of that ascending channel there. So I do think on the lower time frames, there could be some nice shorts in play here. So maybe another correction, retest some structure. That could be a nice short opportunity on maybe hourly or 30 or 15-minute chart. That could be a nice ride on the way down. Then when we start approaching 31.25, then we can see what we can get in terms of the buys to maybe take silver back up again. But for now, really strong break. I do feel like silver can continue to fall here, and then we can see what we do at some of these prices.